Hey guys, Heathway here and welcome back to yet another episode of my FIFA 19 Team of the Season Market Update series. It's been a while since the last one, but I'm back and I'm going to let you guys know everything you need to know about the market right now. I'll be answering lots of questions from the previous episode and we're just going to be looking at player prices and really seeing what's happening right now. La Liga Team of the Season is of course currently available in packs. EA dropped some upgrades a little bit late tonight. They came out about 6:15 and that is going to of course impact rare golds from the La Liga. But we're just going to take a look first of all at meta gold cards and see how they've been affected recently. Cristiano Ronaldo is just over 900k, but he was actually quite high. He was nearly 1 million coins before this weekend league. Of course, right now we're seeing a bit of weekend league sell-off with it being Monday evening. That's just something we see all the time. So the higher end players, the meta players, typically dip a little bit, just by a couple of thousand coins here and there, depending on the players. But yeah, Ronaldo is down by about 30 or 40k compared to what he was actually at on Friday and Thursday. But a lot of these high-end players have actually risen in price, and that's because people are now starting to build their teams and have been for the past few weeks, and that's why these cards have risen, is because people are building their end game teams and they're playing weekend league. Everyone's playing weekend league right now because they want the red player picks for Team of the Season cards. So you're seeing a lot of these very high-end, very elite cards, the meta cards, really rise in value. Now Messi is an interesting one because he's currently available in packs as a blue, so he's not going to have got packed at all. Obviously, the gold version in the past couple of days, but he's obviously super low. Messi's not really a player people tend to use, especially the gold version this year, mainly because of stamina issues. He doesn't really suit the meta of the game that much, so he is fairly cheap. I think around the cheapest he's been this year. Neymar is very low. I think this is down, again, around the cheapest he's been. Although players like Neymar, they are still used by a lot of people, especially in the weekend league. So you still see them getting affected by that weekend league sell-off and weekend league hype. Ramos is a player who, interestingly, had a very good value SBC release recently, which made his Team of the Year drop down in price. But his Team of the Year shot up when he wasn't announced in La Liga. His Team of the Year went up by about 400 or 500k. Because some people thought he might be in La Liga Team of the Season, and when he wasn't, he then rose up a lot in price. Also because we didn't really have any good centre-backs in the La Liga Team of the Season. They're all either really quick and small or quite slow. Yeah, Ramos' gold card is down quite a lot there. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is down very low, so just nothing really to see there. Alexandre is down super low, Varane is down super low. Although an interesting thing to bear in mind with Varane and with Ramos, I think with La Liga, and this counts for a lot of different Team of the Seasons, when rewards come out, let's say people start packing themselves maybe fullbacks. Let's say someone gets a Jordi Alba, for example. They're going to go and want to get players to link into them, and Ramos would be a go-to option there. So when rewards come out and people get their Team of the Season player picks, this is a really good investment tip. You're going to see players that link into the types of players people are going to be getting rise not in value. Fullbacks, they're going to rise loads as well, because there aren't really that many good fullbacks in La Liga. You've got on the left Alba and Marcelo, and then on the right you've not really got many options at all. You've got maybe Informed DeMarcos, for example. You've got a few special cards which are worth a little bit, maybe Carvajal, but there aren't really many options in the fullback position. So someone like Team of the Season Jesus Navas could rise a lot in rewards because he's going to be a player that people will buy to link into any right side of midfielders they get. Same on the left. Jordi Alba's gold card's a really nice one because if someone gets PK, they're going to go with him. If someone gets Dembele, they're going to go with him, etc. So you can get some good link investments with some of these slightly lower end cards that are cheaper now, like Ramos, Varane, the normal versions of Marcelo, and especially Jordi Alba. I think that they're all good types of investments to go for. Now looking at icons, these cards are on the whole very low. They are dropping down just because obviously with Team of the Season we're now getting better versions of a lot of these cards anyway, and people have pretty much all done the SBCs for these if they want the cards, so there's not really much demand for them on the market. They've kind of just plateaued out, like they're super low. They're not really going to drop down too much more, and they're not really going to rise up at all. Mid-tier icons, again, very low, and that's for really good ones like Stoichkov, and then the babies are also super low. So again, Ferdinand, one of the better ones, is extremely low in value, and same can be said for the kind of SBC fodder baby icons too. So all these cards naturally are very low. as I've talked about, you're still getting, with the very, very elite cards, the meta cards like Ronaldo, you're still seeing that weekend league sell-off and weekend league buyback, kind of fluctuation over the week. And then with the link players who are meta, the meta gold cards, the ones that link into specific blues that people are likely to get with their rewards, again, you see those fluctuate a lot. But apart from that, these cards are just all kind of plateauing out at a very, very low price. Now, looking at blue cards, they're just so expensive. There's a lot of very, very overpriced blues. And in some cases, these cards have risen quite a lot out of packs. Like Havertz is so expensive, as you've seen. Ben Yedder's at about 1.3 million. Looking at some of the older ones, these are now starting to drop down a bit in some cases, just because we're getting such good blues coming out now. So John Stones is one that I believe has gone down a bit. Some have actually shot up though, depending on links. It's all to do with links with a lot of these blues. Like Sula, he actually went extinct, I believe. He went up so much in price. He went up by like 50, 60, 70k, something like that, because we had no tradable centre backs in the Bundesliga team in the season. We had an SBC for Tar, but there were no tradable options. So he was the only one. He's like the best centre back in the Bundesliga. He was the only person people could get to link into fullbacks, and because of those links, everyone was getting fullbacks. We had loads in the Bundesliga in their picks. They bought Sula. So a lot of those players that link into others tend to be really good investments. So you'll see sometimes with cards out of packs rising up a lot because of that. Royce has dipped down a little bit, I believe. Wan-Bissaka's dropped down, and there's been a general trend with fullbacks I've seen in the Premier League. Aurier's dropped down, Doherty's dropped down, Alexander-Arnold's dropped down. I think it's because we now have so many more options. Previously, we only had like one or two standout options in that position in the Premier League, but now there are loads and loads of good players. So as a whole, that position in the Premier League has dropped down. So that's just an example there with Wan-Bissaka. Ibrahimovic, he's dropped down a little bit as well, just because we've now got lots of equally good, if not better, cards available. Fernandinho, I believe he's risen a fair amount. A lot of the Premier League blues, pretty much all of them rose a lot out of packs. Edison I picked up at like 140k just to use, not as an investment, and he rose to about 190 within a week of going out of packs. Pretty much all of the blues from the Premier League, I think, have risen a lot out of packs, and that's the general trend with any of the really good players. They rise out of packs just because they're good players that people use. Witsel, I believe he's rising out of packs because he was down below 400k and now he seems to be just over that. I actually got him in my player picks. He is very good as a CDM. But yeah, he's another one of those cards. The good team of the seasons always tend to rise out of packs unless they're in a certain position where better players then become available. So for example, Alex Telles, he rose a lot out of packs because he's probably the best left back on the game, at least from a defensive viewpoint. Some people prefer Marcelo going forwards. But if we get a really insane left back in like the Serie A, if Alexandro, he will get a blue card. If Alexandro's blue ends up being better than Telles, then you'll see Telles drop down a little bit. And then looking at the low end cards, these are kind of like your discard price, SBC fodder type team of the season. They're all super low, and these have just been dropping down loads. Team of the season cards haven't been good investments for SBCs on the whole because there's so many of them, and people get a lot of them for free as well from weekly objectives and from SBCs that are very good prices. So these types of cards are very low down in value. We haven't really had many SBCs either needing blue cards. The only ones that are good investments, and there's some interesting ones, which I've made a lot of coins on, are players like Acuna. Now, this is just an example, but as you guys can see here, this card is 88 rated, and he was 31k when I picked him up. Now, if you look on Footbin, you'll see the cheapest players for certain ratings, and the cheapest 88 rated cards, when I was picking Acuna up, they were like 30k as well. So he was the joint cheapest card of his rating on the game, so really good for SBCs, and he was a blue card, so it made him a really good investment, and I picked up an absolute ton of them. I got about 20 or 30, and I was getting them for 30k, selling them for nearly 40k as soon as we had an SBC requiring them. So these are really good types of investments. If you ever see blues get very low, go ahead and pick them up. We saw a few from the Super League. There are some really good options in there. If we go and look at the Super League right now, we had some really good high rated cards, and I actually did the Ramos SBC using a lot of blues from the Super League because they were like 88 rated, some of them. I was using these two here especially. They're both 88 rated and they were like 25k. They've gone up a little bit now, But that's what happens. Like if you see cards at a low price, pick them up because they always rise up because of SBCs. So I was getting these cards for like 25, 26, 27k, that kind of price there, using them in SBCs, and he's now up to 32k. This guy here, Belazoglu. So these are other good types of team of the seasons you can trade with. When it comes to team of the season trading, it's not like it was last year. You're mainly looking at either cards that are very, very cheap for their rating and are still blue. You're looking at cards that rise out of packs, so the really meta players, and also flipping cards works really well. In the initial hour or so of Team of the Season being released, you often see really messed up price ranges where cards are really, really undervalued, and because a lot of people save packs, you see cards drop in the first hour or so of them being released, or not necessarily drop, but you see them at a decreased price to what they get to over the next few hours. So trying to think of a good example, like earlier in the Premier League Team of the Season, Son was like 1.5 million when he first came out because of his price range. EA messed up with that, as always. They mess up with everything, and people were picking him up for that kind of price. He was extinct because he'd sell instantly, but people that did list the card, people would get them at that price, and EA increased the price range, and he went up to like 2.5 million. So flipping Team of the Seasons in the very initial stages of a new Team of the Season squad being released is a very effective way of making coins with them, as is investing in key players out of packs. So fullbacks are really good ones. So we saw Tellez rise a lot. Certain players where there aren't too many other options in their positions. So Edison, for example, no one really likes Alisson. Like everyone I've seen has said Alisson is really bad, the Team of the Season version. So everyone is using Edison instead. So again, kind of a key position, Premier League. He rose up a lot in price, and just kind of those key position players for links as well. Someone like Sula, he rose loads because he was the only Bundesliga centre back that we ended up getting with a blue card, not only in the Bundesliga Team of the Season, just as a whole, because obviously he was from the most consistent. We didn't get a single one in the Bundesliga, but he was obviously from the most consistent and rose up. Although that would have been quite hard to foreshadow, really. I think everyone thought we'd get like at least a few. We'd get maybe Orban and Tar and players like that as tradables. So he's one that rose more when the squad was initially announced. He didn't rise that much out of packs because he doesn't have an amazing card. It was only when we didn't have any Bundesliga centre-backs in the Bundesliga Team of the Season that he in turn rose in price. But they're the best types of ways to make coins with blues, and I think that's what this video is going to be titled, How to Make Coins with Team of the Season Players. As I said, there are three main ways. You've got investing in the high-rated ones that are cheap for their rating. You've got flipping cards in the initial stages of them coming out if they have a low price range, and you've also got holding and then selling out of packs players who have key stats for their position, just cards that people use a lot. So Eder Militao, Alex Tellez, they were good examples from the last Team of the Season. People like Ben Yedder, Dembele, I think they're going to be good ones from this current Team of the Season for La Liga, and it's going to be interesting with the Serie A. I think you're again going to be looking at fullbacks, so people like Alexandra are going to be good ones. It's going to be interesting, but you've still got the fluctuation with a lot of the goals to look out for too. So they are fairly low, and a good investment tip that I've talked about already is link players. So players that link into cards that will be getting packed a lot with, well, not packed, but given out a lot with the rewards. So for example, Jordi Alba I think is a really nice investment. Same with Varane, same with Ramos, because they're players that, let's say someone packs themselves, like who's in the Team of the Season in La Liga in the defence. Let's say someone goes ahead and packs themselves PK, they're going to want a player to link into PK, and a really good option would be Ramos or it would be Alba. If someone gets Team of the Season Alba, they're going to want a centre-back to link into him. So Ramos would be a good option there, the best option in terms of links, and that's also a good player. If someone gets Dembele, they're going to want Alba, he links into them. So lots of good examples there. Inform Dembele as well, if someone gets Alba, they might want to go with him if they can't afford the blue. Lots of cases, there's some really, really good investments, and that's a great way of making coins during Team of the Season. So I do hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on it, subscribe if you're new around here. Be sure to check out the sponsors of the channel, aniba.com, if you want cheap games and game codes. And also, go and check out FUT Yourself if you want high quality in real life FIFA cards, just like this one. But that is going to be it. Hope you guys enjoy, and I should catch you later. Take care.